People, make una listen to the narrative from actor Yomi and Kemi Oluloyo regarding everything that transpired before Mohbad died. In short, what led to his dying. So they are, Yomi is actually trying to see how the matter take happen. So make una sit down, make una come hear proper analysis. The only thing I want to say, you guys, justice for Mohbad and justice we must get. Make we listen together.
Your brain begins to ask questions, and you expect the institution of justice to cover up those lacunas. And then you realize the fact that these institutions will readily buy or ask for the price for your life. Because at the end of the day, if Mohbad was taken to 2 hospitals, first Kuramed, and they said, oh, what you brought here is actually somebody who has died for a long time. No. Oh, let's go for the second opinion. It shouldn't be. And they went to the second hospital. And the second hospital said, oh, we attended to this body. Certainly, if you miss or if you want to tell us that that doctor in the first hospital did not issue a report, which of course they will issue on the spot, the second hospital must have issued. And if the second hospital issued a doctor's report, the right thing to do is to go and deposit the body in the morgue. But before you do, you must present it to a police officer at the station.
Yeah.
The police officer will look at it. How did this person die? Did he die in the hospital or did he die at home? If it is in the hospital, can we see the doctor's report? If it is at home, who was there when it happened? Now, they've been able to stage it to say he died in the hospital. But the hospital would have cleared it and said he was brought in dead. That means the police officer will refer back and say, if he was brought in dead, that means he actually, died, whether on the road or at home. So somebody must be able to testify before they can write their own reports. And that means that at that point, the police might look at it and say, you know what, with your explanation of how this person died, where is the nurse? Please step inside. And then the police will be the one to go and deposit the body. Because immediately from the accounts we are hearing now, even from the one the police did, it shows that it is not a natural death. You understand?
Yeah.
But the mental trauma is that how the nurse left that place that day is still giving me some mental stress. At what point did they allow the nurse to go? If not because the entire people in the family immediately Mohbad went away, they were able to conclude and say no, because I am looking at it that if all of them, wife, brother, they were there, and that was how Mohbad, let's accept or go with the narratives that the nurse injected, blah, blah, blah. How did all of them come to the conclusion that the nurse should go? Do you understand? Because Kuramed said, Perez said, 426, he was declared BID. That means
it was
by 5 o'clock
dead.
Exactly.
DOA, in America. We call it DOA in America.
Dead on arrival.
Arrival.
So it means that by 5 o'clock, they've gotten the best conclusion that he's not going to come back. And the right thing to do is not take the body home. You report to the police because case can come up from any angle. And there is no way you would have. So now the point is, who I am still, as it is now, a lot of people don't know. I am still, one of the things I want to know in this Mohbad case, even I am interested in that more than who died Mohbad. Now, how? Which of you concluded? How did the nurse? You don't understand. I'm looking at it. If my brother, everybody that I cared so much about, that if anything happened to them, they will see it as my obligation that I must care for them. And then within 2-3 hours, the person that took my life set free. So now the wife is doing media tour. No real journalist could ask her.
Because,
look at it.
excuse me, Mr. Fabi, hold that thought. Because, and I'm not disgruntled, there are no real journalists in Nigeria. You know that our media houses are owned by the politician and businessmen. So with that ownership, they do what they're told. They don't carry what I say.
But it is not about what they are told. See, these media houses have got a responsibility on our children.
They do.
The things they emit is what will affect the mental IQ of our children.
Right.
The television has got a very powerful influence in reshaping our thinking faculty.
Yeah.
Now, I am still like, I want to get to a stage whereby the whole truth will come and say, nurse, when you were living, you injected an adult. Somebody became a widow. And within few hours, they ask you to go. When you were leaving, were you washing your back? Which of them did you think is likely to come and jump on you and say, where do you think you're going? These are the questions that I want her to answer. He says, if she comes out and say none of them, then I will start looking inward and say, what is family there? So it's true that blood is not family.
So you believe there's a conspiracy there?
Exactly. And the lady has been coming out to say, it was my father-in-law that asked us to come. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Your father-in-law did not witness how Mohbad died. He has no accounts to even give to the police.
Excuse me, Mr. Fabi, on what interview was that one? Because I'm making notes. This is serious. I'm writing a book.
I think
Which interview was the father-in-law?
I think it was the one with Arise TV.
Arise TV or
she did so many. So if you check with Arise or TVC,
I'm compiling them together, but there's a lot of discrepancies. They said Ayobami called the nurse from Kutonu. Now it's the father-in-law that called the nurse. Now, another thing.
They never said the father-in-law called the nurse. They never said the father-in-law. I'm talking about when the nurse, because the lady is saying, I don't know whether the injection, whether the nurse came with intent to buy my husband or it was a mistake. Don't forget, this is the same Mohbad that is fearing for his life because of a constant attack and bullying. This nurse we are talking about, the wife never met her before. She has never treated Mohbad before.
Yes.
She doesn't know where she's coming from, the hospital.
Yeah.
She doesn't know her house. And that same nurse, within 40 minutes of coming in contact with her husband, he was declared BID. And then before your father, and even if it was after the father-in-law came, I am asking that.
Now, Mr. Fabi, let me ask you a question. Listen to this question carefully. I'm a pharmacist, 36 years, and I pride myself in my work. Now, the drug that Police Chief Owonha, the former CP, that left the police force for the Interpol, Mr. Owonha,
he has been dismissed from the police.
He's still with the police?
He has been dismissed now.
Was it dismissed?
It was for age falsification. I had it.
Really?
Yeah.
And I thought he went to Interpol. But let me tell you what he said on the press conference. On the press conference, they mentioned ceftriaxone because they found a vial at the house. Ceftriaxone is a broad spectrum antibiotic, but it's in a class called the cephalosporins. They're not ordinary antibiotics. You need to have serious skin infections, as in gangrene, gunshot, something deep into the skin before you can use ceftriaxone. Now, there are issues with NAFDAC. NAFDAC has not spoken about Mohbad's case. all this dispensing of antibiotics without prescriptions. A nurse told Ayobami to go to the pharmacy. Am I correct? All these go to the pharmacy, buy this, buy that. Ceftriaxone was injected into Mohbad as a second injection. This is according to the press conference with Owonha. Owonha said when she injected it into Mohbad, he developed vomiting and seizures, which is an anaphylactic reaction. And they are trying to blame that as the final thing that killed Mohbad, anaphylaxis. Now, let me say something about anaphylaxis. Whenever you are giving ceftriaxone, you need to be in a clinical setting, as in hospital. Because if that patient has anaphylaxis, something like that happens, there needs to be a drug called epinephrine so that the patient does not die. Now, auxiliary nurses cannot give anaphylaxis. They cannot give ceftriaxone exactly alone. They must have a registered nurse beside them. So, number one, if anything is going to happen to this girl, they will just remove her license.
Sorry to interject you. Having known that as a fact, they are still charging and keeping them with misdemeanor. That is a direct murder on the part of the nurse.
That's a freaking felony.
So we're still looking at it, but we're still, all these things are things that are having mental health and it's disturbing us. That what are we talking about? This person is not even qualified to do what she's doing.
Yomi Shomotumo felony tamanlo l'America. Felony na kishe misdemeanor.
Well, yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. That is another. I'm still going to get the part of the things that is affect the mental health parts of it. Go on.
Epinephrine, okay. Like for example, pen Oda be pen, EpiPen. They didn't have EpiPen. They didn't have any form of epinephrine. If there was epinephrine, Mohbad would have lived. Why? Because if you have an anaphylactic reaction, that can happen with any drug. If you have an anaphylactic reaction, it's like your battery is 10% on your phone.
Kemi, Dr. Kemi, rather, do I tell you my own observation?
Tell me.
You investigated the matter. Now, Yomi, in a recent interview, spending in his recent interview, played down on the courts. Like it was just a minor crash.
Did you hear
Nothing
that?
good.
Did you hear her on TVC?
Yes.
It was just a minor cut.
Now, this is where I'm now going. This is where I'm now going.
But did you see the picture that Owonha showed the journalist?
It's not just the picture. CP Owonha said he bled profusely.
Yes.
Now.
Yes, two different parts of the hand. Elbow, but fist, bleeding profusely. So it contradicts her.
And at the end of the day, you are a pharmacist.
Yes.
A qualified one. How can Mohbad be bleeding? Because the bleeding is only associated with the incident in Ikorodu on the 10th of September.
That is
how he now starts bleeding profusely. No attempt to stop the bleeding.
Right.
They never told us what they use in stopping it on the 10th, on the 11th, on the 12th.
So you know
that right? How possible is that? That is one of the things I am now fearing, that if you are saying that Nigeria is tilting or nose diving into underdevelopment, are we the masses not playing a major part? How will the police come out? How do I explain this to my son?
Masses have to play a part in this trial. Whenever that trial starts, Yomi, we want to know if you have any communications with the DPP. We need the DPP to tell us. Remember, Yomi, in October 14th, the DPP had a news conference on an array of cases that he's dealing with. The media was addressed. There was news conference here. Do you remember the DPP said in October, we have received Mohbad's toxicology test from America. We will give it to you in a matter of weeks. Share toxicology test from America that you say you have released. Is this the same one that was posted by the cable NG in May? Or someone paid the cable NG to post nonsense? Do you see what they're doing here? Remember that toxicology test that came up in April, May was the one I called fake on Daddy Freeze show. So, which toxicology test or GPP are you talking about? You said in a few weeks. This is 4 months.
But the fact remains that if this can happen with Mohbad, who knows? When it could be any other person, and then they will still mess it up. Because that means for with these police and governments, every human soul has got a price, except they didn't approach them with it. Because with the old reports, with the old investigation, I told the police officer, because we did a